I'm going to take this onion and these tomatoes and show you how to make one of people's most favorite condiments, ketchup. Welcome to Candy What You Grow. I'm Holly Baird. Today we're making ketchup. We're making a pretty small batch, but it's going to be good. And what we're doing is we are using kind of these hodgepodge of tomatoes here. We have some small ones, we got some cherries, we've got some ones we had previously frozen, some Romas, all sorts of stuff. So what we're going to do first is we're going to get them into the stock pot. Now we're not blanching them, we're actually cooking them down, and then I'm going to get this onion chopped up as well. We're just cooking them, I shouldn't say cooking them down, we're cooking them to soften them and heat them up because we're going to run them through the food mill. So I'm just going to get this onion chop and get my tomatoes in there, and then we'll get it on the stove. I'll kind of show you what we're doing. Okay, so we are going to get this cooked down and have it on high right now. I'm going to turn it down once it gets to boiling, and then we're going to let it cook for about 15 minutes once it gets to that point, and then we'll get it in the food mill. So we're going to let it cook right now. Okay, so now, as you can see, we've got this cooked down quite a bit, and everything's all nice and soft. We're going to run it through the food mill. So what the food mill does, and you might have a different one, this is just a pretty standard one, and it's just going to separate the seeds and the skins, and then we'll have a nice consistency. Now, just so you know, cooking this down does take time. It takes about 2.5 to 3 hours, maybe less, depending on how, I guess, pasty your tomatoes are. So, here we go. See, as you can see, it pushes all the good stuff through, and then it leaves the other stuff. So you just keep doing this in small batches. Put the skins and all that in the compost, and then we'll get to the next step. Okay, so we got it all milled, and now we're back on the stove. We're going to let this cook down. We want it to cook down by half. So I'm going to teach you a little trick here. I got something on my spoon, 1 second. Actually, you know what? I can use this spoon. Okay. We want it cooked down by half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rubber band. Well, actually, first I'm going to take my end of my stirrer, and see where it goes till. Okay, so it goes right there. Then I'm going to take my rubber band. I'm going to put it on my spoon on the handle, and then that way I know where, when we get to half, where that'll be at. So right there, that's where it's at. Okay. Then when I can check it with the end of my spoon. It's a little bit messy. You're gonna get some sauce on your hands, but that's okay. And it's a good way, that way you know you're not guessing. So it could take an hour and a half or so to cook down. Basically, what you're doing is you're letting the water get evaporated from the tomatoes to make it a ketchup consistency. And then we'll add some vinegar and stuff, and then we'll get it canned. So our ketchup is where we want it to be. It's a little bit watery, but that's okay. It's really hot, so it will thicken up as it cools as well, just like most tomato-based sauces. And so we're gonna put in these half-pint jars. It's a 1/2-inch headspace. Just gonna give it a stir here and get it in here. Okay, so this gets pretty close, or not. And it smells like ketchup. It smells nice and tomatoey, a little bit vinegary, so it's kind of nice. Okay, that's perfect. And all right, so I'm gonna get these in the canner, and they process for 15 minutes in the boiling water bath canner. You can freeze them if you want to, so I can put that in the show notes for you, how you freeze it. You would obviously let it cool down before you put it in the freezer. And you can freeze it. We should get about 5 half pints. And I'm going to get it in the canner, and we're going to drop it in at 15 minutes once our raw water is boiling. And you want to make sure that you're covering your jars with water about an inch. Okay. Okay, you just want to finger tighten your lids. Alright, I'm going to get this in my rack here. And I'm going to get the rest of my half pints done here. And we'll see what we end up with. Okay, so we ended up with 6 half pints of tomato ketchup. And let's get them on the thing here real quick. Okay, so we ended up with 6 half pints of our homemade ketchup there. And I'll make sure to leave the recipe in the show notes for you and tell you how you can freeze it as well as just canning it. So homemade ketchup, it's a little bit different. Something you should try. I think you should definitely try, especially if you eat a lot of like organic ketchup. It's made from real good pure ingredients. So there you go, Holly Bear. This has been Canning What You Grow.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.